Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to let you know a little bit about our organization, Legal Aid of Northwest Texas. We are a nonprofit law firm. We provide free legal services in civil areas of law in 114 counties in North Texas and also in West Texas. And the kind of law can include family law, landlord-tenant law, public benefits, consumer debt, kind of a range of kind of civil areas. And then the project that I'm part of, along with Eleazar and Rosetta and Steve McIntyre, who's on the phone, is the Community Revitalization Project. And here our focus is helping community groups, neighborhood associations, kind of grassroots groups with areas of focus related to housing, environmental, health, community development. And one of our focus areas is doing community education and outreach, as well as kind of a focus on just improving local understanding, right, of local resources, as well as kind of legal issues that can be challenging, but also opportunities, right? And so this is part of our for-profit kind of entrepreneurial workshop series, and it's part of kind of the community education focus we have. I'm just going to speak very briefly. We wanted just to kind of take a step back and talk about kind of, if you were to think about growing a business like an onion, right? What's at the core? When you're getting started, you might be doing things like filing your DBA in the county clerk's office. You might be thinking about a business corporation filing. Are you a sole proprietorship, a general partnership, a Texas corporation, a limited liability corporation, right? That may involve a business corporation filing with the Texas Secretary of State. An employer identification number as another way to apply for an EIN with the IRS in order to open a bank account, right? A business bank account. Something we're going to talk about next time, business tax returns, IRS Form 1120, which might be relevant for some businesses going forward. And then kind of another type of business document that you might be focused on when you're getting started is your sales contracts, your purchase orders, your receipts, kind of like your bookkeeping and accounting type of paperwork, but also what you might bring to a customer, right, to sign or to clarify what is the focus of the business transaction. If you have a change later on, you might have a change order, right? So the different kind of business operation documents you might have. Now we just included this list just for thinking about outer layers of the onion. Our topic is sustainability, so we won't really get into these, but I just wanted to share these as a way to think, you know, should your business get to the point where you want to apply for a business loan to grow your business, right? If you are in a position where you want to take on business debt, what might you bring to your bank loan application, right? And so if your business is new, you might have more personal financial records, right? But if your business is more established, you'll have some of these as well. So some of these documents you might bring to a meeting with a bank loan officer, right, is business credit application, or loan application, personal credit report, personal tax returns, business financial statements, personal financial information, collateral information, a business lease or loan agreement, a business license, depending on the trade that you're working in or the type of business focus you have. Disclosures if you or other partners own, if your business is a sole partnership, right, the focus is going to be on you. If it's a general partnership, the focus is going to be on additional business records for that additional partner. So these are just some examples here of what you might be looking at down the road, right? And that's just to say that's a bigger topic that we'll save for a future discussion, but it's just to think of when interacting with bank loan officer, say at a bank or at a community development financial institution, right? You're looking for, you're showing that you're credit worthy, but you're also looking for the best terms possible, right? Because with any type of business loan, you have some type of terms of agreement for repayment, right? So I don't want to go into this too much, but I want to say that's kind of, that's something that your business, as you look to develop your business, that might be something that you would look to take on in the future, right? So it's just to get exposure to it. In the past, we've talked about benefits of a corporation, strategy development. Today's focus is going to be on sustainability. And next time we're going to talk about corporate management and also the IRS business tax form filing. Rosetta is going to speak with us, is going to be our main speaker today, and we're going to hopefully get participation from folks who want to talk about their questions or issues. And so Rosetta, do you want to take us through your sustainability presentation?
You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I apologize. I'm so sorry. Yes, I won't be the main one talking. Hopefully this will be an open forum where we all will join in and talk about sustainability. But just to give you a definition of what sustainability is. By definition, it's the economic development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So questions such as, will we be able to stabilize and reverse the damaged state of the earth? What's the cure and what can we do? Those questions have led to the creation of the concept of sustainable development. So a more simply put definition that I found in my research quite simply states, sustainable development is one which balances resources for the future. So when we talk about resources, we're talking about energy, food, water safety, equality, conservation and sustainability of our oceans, combating climate change. Those are some of the resources. And how do we balance these resources? Well, there are three dimensions, which are business, civil society, and government, and all coming together to take part in working on a series of sustainable development goals. In 2015, the United Nations proposed a series of sustainable development goals called SDGs. So if you Google SDGs, you'll see this matrix. You may see a matrix chart, or you may just see the list of the 17 sustainable goals that they outlined. They're basically replaced from the Millennium Development Goals that had expired in 2014. But it's a list of goals, and they're simply stated in simple sentences that say things like, the very first one says ending poverty in all its forms everywhere. I won't go through all 17, but as I said, they're very simply stated. The other one is ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. So they're very simply stated sentences that outline the goals for sustainability. So it's kind of like a balancing act that we have to take those 17 goals, and then with the necessary entities, the three dimensions that I spoke of, business, civil society, and government, all coming together to contribute, working together to create a somewhat like a utopian-like society now and for the future. So although sustainability it's very intricate, it has those little intricacies, it's not really a complex concept to understand. but it's because I hate thinking, I hate to use the word complex because then people kind of shy away. So I try to keep it as simple as possible because I think people have a better understanding if you keep things simple. So, one of the quotes that I found when I was doing my research was with Michelle Obama. And she describes sustainable development as it has to do with the most important job, being a mom. And like mothers and fathers everywhere, the health and safety of our children is our top priority. And this is what it's all about, the future. And so I think that kind of keeps it simple. And we can talk about ideas of how we can be sustainable from a business, from a civil society, and from a government perspective in our discussions. So that's just a little overview of what sustainable development is. And I'll give it back to Eleazar to let him continue, but then we can come back and do more of a broader discussion about how we can be a part of the sustainable development.
Very well. Thank you, Rosetta. In sustainability, you're right. We are able to look at it from different perspectives. So the next question that we have, we're going to ask Sam to manage this coming question. This basically deals with entrepreneurship. So you can have a business within a sustainable or an unsustainable system, but you're concerned about your entrepreneurship idea. And the question that we have for Sam that he's gonna handle today is, how is your project sustainable? Sam? You're muted.
I just said that. You didn't hear me because I was muted. From the standpoint of building a business from the ground up, we have to be concerned about what we can do to make sure that the business itself is survivable, sustainable, if you will. If you're selling things, products, then you need to have products to sell. You need to have a place to store them, a way to show them to your customers, and then a way to deliver them to your customers. Now, if you have a store, you bring products into the store, you display them so that they're most appealing to people who come into your store. You find a way to get people to come into your store. You advertise in the neighborhood, you advertise in your city, or whatever means you have of connecting to the general public. And hopefully enough of them are enticed or find your advertising appealing so that they come to see you. Then they walk around your store, they find whatever it is that appeals to them, they pick it up, they come to the counter and pay for it, and they leave, and you have a customer. That's one way to sustain your business. But if you don't have a store, then you have to have a way to deliver your products to your customers, in addition to creating a means for them to see what you're selling to begin with. In the good old days, before the invention of the electric light bulb, there was a catalog. These would be delivered by something called the Postal Service. People would look through the catalogs, they would find what they wanted. There would be a form in the catalog that they could fill out. They would stick it in an envelope along with payment, mail it via the Postal Service back to the company. The company would then deliver via generally Postal Service or some other manner of shipping, and ship you the products. These days we have the internet, and there are all kinds of places you can go on the internet to advertise your business. Not only just Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or the social media service of the day, of the moment. There are all kinds of other ways you can contact people. You can send emails. You can contact people with direct mail, postal service, and then ask them to come to your website, which you have built, and then you advertise your products on your website. That is how you sustain your business. Once they come to your website and they find something they like, they click a box, they fill out the forms on the website that are easy for them to comprehend and then complete, which is very important. Some people think in very complex terms, and when they display information on websites, it's displayed in a very complex manner that makes it difficult for the average person to understand. Other people, and Apple is famous for this approach, everything that they deliver is designed to make it easy for the customer, easy for the person, easy for the user. And that's a very important consideration. People fill out the form, they click send, you receive it, however, in whatever system that you receive it, you then fulfill the customer's order, you ship it to them, and then once again, you have a customer. But some people don't sell things, they sell services. You advertise and contact people in the same manner that you do if you're selling products, but it's just you're selling services. And you have to find a way to communicate with people on what your service is, why it's valuable, why they should buy it from you. This is, again, how you make your project sustainable. All of these things come into consideration when you're looking at how to make a project sustainable. Then, on top of all of that, as if life weren't complicated enough, we all need to be concerned about the way we're using our environment to make it most, well, the best word I can think of is healthy, to make it the healthiest manner in which to use resources so that we're not poisoning the atmosphere or using them up. Mm-hmm. And that's something that Rosetta mentioned before. All I can say is there are lots of ways to make things, and some of them are far more healthy for the environment than others. Does anyone have any questions? Please tell me there's a question out there somewhere so I can stop babbling. I see Eliezer smiling.
Wondering if you were to give anyone advice on what should their priority be when they're looking at sustainability, because we spoke about different segments of that concept, right? So if I'm starting a business, service business, what should my personal priority be concerning sustainability for my service business? Let's use Nicole and Judas's auto detailing business. What should my concern on sustainability be when I go to their program? They tell me all these things they can explain later. As a new entrepreneur, what what should I be focusing on as a priority to make my business sustainable?
Well, presumably there are people that need what you're providing. You have to find a way to communicate with those people. You start with your immediate geographic area and build out from there. But communication, I think the way in which you communicate with the public to attract those who need your services is, I think, the most important element.
For the marketing, for the sustainability, for the long-term
Right.
sustainability is what you're saying. You were discussing before. Okay.
Marketing, the technical designation in the business world is marketing, but it's really, you're communicating with people to, first of all, educate them that you exist, what you provide, and then why they should come to see you. Those are the three things that you're essentially communicating to people.
Okay. I'm wondering if Judah.
Can you repeat that, please?
Go ahead.
The three things.
You're communicating to people what you provide. What was that? What you provide, why they should. You're communicating with people that you exist, then what it is you provide, and why they should come to see you.
Thank you.
Anybody else has any other questions? I do want.
Rosetta has the question, but she's muted.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm so sorry, I keep muting myself. And then I would add on to what Sam said. Once you have your product, you've communicated what your product is. Then how can you be sustainable with the product that you've created? So I want to give you an example because it's, I thought it was a pretty good example that I came across. In 2007, in the city of Toronto, Canada, they launched a Live Green Toronto program in response to climate change, clean air, and sustainable energy. It was an action plan that they had. So large and small businesses and hundreds of consumers use an electronic card system to receive benefits from the purchases of eco-friendly products. So Live Green Toronto includes all the sectors that I mentioned earlier, the being responsible business, living responsible, and having responsible government. So that was business, civil society, and government all came together, took one of the sustainability goals and created this eco-friendly product. Well, that's the same that you could think of with Suits for Judah. You could have an initiative because you're using water. You could come up with an initiative where you are being conservative in your teaching, because it's a teaching program that you're having with young adults on how to be entrepreneurs. But in that, you can teach them also how to be ways of being conservative in their business aspect. So I just want to kind of throw that off in there because Sam talks about how to sustain a business, but then on the overall big stage of it, how we can be part of the just overall sustaining, being more conservative and having more sustainable development in our small or in large organizations.
Right on.
I have a question.
I wanted to throw that off in there, sorry.
No.
I have a question.
Sure.
So in terms of sustainability, like now that with COVID and how our lives has changed and everything is moving into virtual, how do we maintain stability in a virtual world?
Who wants to take that? That one's hard because we're not going to be in this state. I think we're not going to be in this state forever. So we'll have to start being creative about how we can be creative in the state that we're in now. And those are just ideas that we're going to have to keep bouncing around to get, because things are changing. It's not the way it used to be. So even when we come out of this, it's going to be a different way of doing business. And so those are the kind of things that we have to start talking about more to get ideas so that we can move forward.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, I would say to try to answer Dion's question. As businesses, we have this idea of what we want our business to be, and we have this this vision of how we plan on executing. But sometimes life doesn't allow us to move that way, and so we have to evolve. And there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You must evolve. And with that being said, it just means evolution in the terms of business just means engagement, finding different ways to engage with your audience, making sure you're keeping engaged with them is probably one of the best ways to stay sustainable. As far as what we're doing as entrepreneurs, our number one thing is making sure our name is relevant, making sure our name doesn't die and doesn't get swallowed up by the big guys. So you just want to make sure you keep your name relevant, stay on people's minds, consistency.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have something to do this month, you don't have a product to sell this month, maybe you've sold out. It doesn't matter. Advertise what you've already sold. Show what you've already done. Let people know that those products are sold, but this is what we're doing and this is what we're going to be doing in the future. Constantly think of the future. Never, ever live in the present. Never, ever live in the present. Your goals are your goals for a reason, because they are supposed to be reached and then they are supposed to be passed up. So once you reach your goal, pass your goal up and move on. And so what I would say is, in terms like this, with COVID, where we have been introduced to this virtual world, everyone, even people who really didn't have any interest in being involved in the virtual world, we're all involved in it. It is now an opportunity for us to evolve our businesses, each and every business, each and every way that we do business. It's an opportunity for us to evolve and show that we are more personable. This is more personable. You're able to relate to your audience more personably, and you're able to create a more form of organic. Exactly. So it's very organic. This is more.
What's the word? Yeah. What's the word that Nicole said?
Interaction.
Yeah.
Interaction. Sorry.
Versus
exactly.
somebody being in your store and you're interacting with them. You know, they actually chose to maybe stop by your live, or they chose to just look at your, your videos and stuff. It's becoming more personal. You're creating a relationship with them that's not always based around the sale.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
I would like to go to Paulette and Dion. I know you want to say something.
No, I'm just saying thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to that, but I want to get to Paulette. She is coming at it from the real estate perspective. So she puts on the chat, that's what she was thinking. The term we use in real estate is pivot. I'm wondering if, Paulette, if you could give us a little bit of, how do you pivot so that in that industry that fluctuates, you stay relevant and you stay sustainable?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. It's actually pre-COVID. I was at a real estate workshop, January 2020, and that was the theme of it, pivoting your business. It was really just changing your business based on, on what's current, how people buy. I'm a baby boomer, so that personal touch and picking up the phone as opposed to texting all the time. And I thought that was, you just think that was, and I was a computer teacher, public school teacher, but thinking that was so impersonal, but that's what, the Judah team over there grew up with. And so for them, it's not a big deal. And people have been kind of forced to get out of their comfort zone and do that. And in real estate, before, with the shutdown last year, before they deemed real estate an essential business and opened it back up, people were just going online with virtual tours. They were doing it anyway a little bit, but it became very prevalent, with the virtual tours. And I'm thinking to myself, people kind of want to see a house, and feel it and touch stuff. That came about, and people didn't stop. It was just a constant beat, those virtual tours, remote closings, rather than going to title companies and sit down and eat the chocolate and fill out your, sign your closing docs. They were sending mobile closers to, Starbucks or in some cases, I've seen people in the parking lot on the back of their trunk signing papers, and you're thinking that is bizarre. But that's where we are, and people are not having problems with doing that, and it works.
I appreciate that. Also, the fact that in entering into COVID, things began to show how strong whatever the initiative was, how strong it was as far as sustainability when COVID hit. When COVID hit, whatever wasn't something that could be sustained dropped off. A lot of businesses went off, and a lot of great ideas died because, how do you manage face-to-face for the sale now that we have COVID? So ways to engage that are going back to both what Rosetta and Sam were saying, with regards to the different aspects of sustainability, your way of staying relevant, of being in somebody's mind, the marketing, every time they think about perhaps something, really a great story that they heard about a service that you did for somebody. So I do know that I mentioned continuously sustainability means different things to different people. But in reality, what you're looking at is longevity. If you want to run a racket, usually you run it for 3 months to 6 months and you skip town. You don't have to worry about sustainability. You only have to worry about getting caught, right? But if you're doing a business and you have a good model and you can continually improve it and make it better, and every time you speak about it, there's another dimension that makes somebody think, wow, this is really a great idea. That keeps you relevant and sustainable in people's minds, because you go around, okay, so now we have to wear masks, and don't worry about it. You can sit, and we could use our hotspot from my car. You be on your car, we'll work on it, we'll talk on the window, whatever it takes. If you can be flexible, that is the degree of sustainability that your business can, that will propel your business through, which is what you want. You want to be able to be propelled through the negative parts, the difficult parts. I also asked Rose Brazil from Hope for Kids Foundation. She's one of our #1 volunteers. She's always supporting us in helping us to figure out, what do we want to talk about with the community. And I just wanted to ask her, because she's running a nonprofit and she has over 2 years experience now. She's becoming an expert in a lot of things, but I know sustainability is one thing that she could probably teach a class on. And I was just wondering, Rose, do you have any words for us today?
No, every event that I have, I just make sure that everyone has a mask. If they don't have a mask, I provide it for them. I make sure my volunteers have gloves, safety glasses, if that's what they want. So everybody's comfortable.
So your way of navigating through the pandemic is being safe.
Being safe.
And you point to, and I know I've seen you, I've gone to your events, a lot of people, signing sheets, a lot of water, gloves, goggles, masks. So I know what you're talking about is real. And for you, in the middle of a pandemic, you removed, what is it, a 6,000, I'm probably wrong, 6,000 square foot donated greenhouse and moved it somewhere with just 7,000 in the middle of a pandemic. Who does that?
Yeah.
Right?
Congratulations.
So yes, I wanted to leave it, and thank you all for your comments and your emojis. I want to go to Judah and Nicole to speak about their DBA, because before we were discussing DBAs, Nancy spoke about it in the beginning. When you're starting a business, you may be able to do it out of the trunk of your car, but if you want to be sustainable, you should figure out ways to use the corporate regulations to help you with your business. So Nicole and Judah have this three-pronged program, and I just like for you to focus on the one where you are teaching youngsters to have their own mobile auto detailing business, and the DBA / and the sustainability instruction that you give them.
Okay.
A little bit about that.
All right. So I actually, for those who don't know, we actually started the entrepreneurship part before we started the Suits for Judah part. So the businesses were created. The Movement Junior Detail business was already created. It's something that we decided that we want to teach the youth to do so that they could take that information and create their own businesses with it. So like everything we're talking about, sustainability, that was one of our main things, trying to figure out how do we stay relevant? How do we let, like Sam said, how do we let people know we exist? You know, how do we communicate with people? How do we let them know what we provide and what they, you know, why they should buy from us? And so the best way that we started out trying to do this was when I started out trying to really create this before it became part of the program, I figured out the sustainability part. I was running out of, I did not have a water buffalo, which is what you need in order to be sustainable with your water. It allows you to recycle the water that you're using so that you're not steady pulling from the environment. So I wasn't able to afford a water buffalo. I didn't have a truck or anything like that. So when I first started out, I just, now this takes a great level of trust, but either I would have the customers meet me at their local car wash, or they would allow me to drive their car to the local car wash just to do the washing part, because it wasn't the wash that they was worried about. It was the detail that they wanted, you know? Okay. So it was the detail that I was selling, but the wash was something that I was providing for free because I didn't have my own water buffalo. So one of the things that I learned in business working with Discount Tire was that if you provide something for free to your customers, then you not only reach your customers, but you also reach potential customers, people who aren't your customers, because they want to know, where's this free stuff coming from? So the next step we did was start figuring out what we could provide for free to get the word out that we exist and to make people interested. So we decided that we provide free window cleanings, free tire wheel cleanings, and free vacuum. So that's what separated us from the competition. Everybody else is doing what they're doing, but we're doing it for free on certain levels. And then when it came to our pricing, what we realized was that pricing too low did not invite customers in. As a matter of fact, it turned them away because they felt like if you're charging low, then you're not providing a real service. So we realized we had to find the middle ground of that. So it was a bunch of research.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Judah. I just want to be able to bring you to the next step with the DBA.
That's right. Okay, right, my bad.
Before you go, that is as much a commentary on human behavior as anything I've ever heard. And it's so very important for entrepreneurs to be conscious of how people will react.
Yes. Absolutely.
I agree with that too. Listening to what you were saying, that is, you're spot on with how people will react, because this younger generation now they're very socially they're very conscious of being socially responsible, and organizations being socially responsible as well. They respond to that. So what you're doing and what you were saying, you're spot on with how that is moving forward with young people and how important that is for them to be involved or to even buy from an organization or support an organization. Right. If they're socially responsible, they're more to talk about them.
Exactly.
News, things of that nature. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. So I'm sorry, I'm a little long with it. I will shorten it up really quick. In this process of figuring out where we stand, because this was basically trying to figure out, there's a million people doing what we do. So we're trying to figure out where we stand and how to separate ourselves.
And who are you?
Process.
Who are
The
you?
last thing that we realized was, excuse me?
Who, I want you
I was going to the DBA.
okay, go ahead.
Yes, that was the last thing that we realized was that we needed to own our name so that we could create a space that we could advertise. We didn't want to put the name out there as a business without knowing that we had some type of document that said this is your business and you're able to do business as. So through research, we realized that you could get a DBA for $26 downtown, which was amazing to me. I didn't even know, less than $30, you could own your name. And so that was literally the last step in creating the Movement Junior Detail Specialist. Now, when we get our children in and we training our youth, that's their first step. We learn through trial and error. So we learn through trial and error. So with the kids, we teach them sustainability on a different level. First of all, sustain your name. Get your DBA. That gives you your name for 10 years. That 10 years gives you time to settle anything else you need to settle. You need a 501c3, you got 10 years to get that done. You need your LLC, you need other things to do. You've protected yourself in some type of way, okay? And so that's the way we start out, just letting people know that they can empower themselves with just $26 to get a DBA.
Wow.
And from that point on, you can start that business. So
Yeah.
that was our process.
Good deal.
What about the sustainability on the expenditures piece when you are setting the youth to own their own detailing business? They get their DBA, and then what do you tell them that they need to get, and how do they go about getting into the business and acquiring their supplies and stuff?
Right on. So after you get your DBA, you need to make sure that you're getting you need to decide with this, you're providing products and services. So it's a product and a service. So you need to figure out how to manage that cost and your overhead. And so that's what we teach them, is how to keep it. With this business, we want them to keep their overhead as low as possible so that it's a worthwhile business. There's a lot of time, there's a lot of energy, and there's a lot of travel in this. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, you have to, like y'all were talking about with sustainability, you have to balance it out so that you're able to sustain the business and do it a long while. So some of the suggestions that we have for people, if it's a money issue, then we suggest we all want to be sustainable and we want the best products that are, healthy for the community. But if you're just starting out and you're not able to get that just yet, consider going to the dollar store and buying all of their Windex. It's going to cost you $10 and you're going to have more product than the next guy.
And so, question, Judah, or probably Eliezer. So if you have like all your paperwork, your formation and all your EIN and all those things, do you still need a DBA?
You will, yes. Get your DBA.
Yeah, yes. No. If you're a corporation, you don't need a DBA unless, Sam, do you want to talk about it?
You have to decide what you're going to call yourself and then be consistent throughout the long-term cycle of the business. And what that means is pick a name and stick with it.
So you get it?
That part of that, by the way, is registering your name, which is registering a DBA.
Yeah, but you don't need a DBA if you know that you have a business name and you are already on that level. A DBA is when you're starting from scratch and it helps you to have something to go on. You can get an EIN for, your business and that's what that's about. But when you are already on a for-profit corporation, an LLC, or a 501c3, you are already incorporated, and that name, so long as you sustain the requirements of the state and the federal government, the corporation will remain forever.
Gotcha. Thank you. This is so awesome. Yes.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. You have something else to say?
Oh, well, no, I was just going to say that we start off with the DBAs, Dayon, because it's out, you know, the customers that we're reaching for don't have the $300 to $700 to $1,000 to go and get the LLC or the 501c3 or other things like that. So we just giving them a starting point. The DBA is a great starting point. That is not their final resting place. This is your starting point. This is where you start, and you must have a vision of where you want to go. There must be a next goal. The DBA cannot be the accomplishment. DBA, yay, no. DBA now work. You know, it's a tool. Exactly. This
Absolutely.
is a tool.
Because they see, you mentioned it to me when you said it to me, it was a great selling point when you told me. I was able to see how it would impact a young person to go into City Hall and get their name on this paperwork, and then this is theirs.
It's there, and they can hold it in their hand, and they're able to show their parents, and they're able to show their friends, and they're like, look, friend, this has my name on it with my business on it. I'll tell y'all a very personal, very quick, but very personal story. When I got my DBA, I started noticing all my friends around me started getting DBAs and started incorporating their businesses and stuff. And it made me feel so amazing because, you know, more than anything, these discussions are great, but people really follow your actions. So, yeah, so, you know, this is just great. So everybody who's here know that what you're doing is amazing. People are following your actions, and that's great.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask if anybody else has any other questions. We're nearing the end of our hour.
Well, before we go, there were just a couple things I wanted to mention. One was, I think it was Judah said before, something that was important, and that is communicating with your customer after the purchase is something that you do to, as we say in fundraising, cultivate relationships so that they don't just look at you as a place to go to buy a thing. Rely on you for more information than just that roll of paper towels that they bought from you last week. And in part of as part of that communication, something that Rosetta said before also struck me was when you're talking about what it is you're doing and why you're doing it, you should probably mention conservation-related things that are relative to your particular business. Because again, the reason that not just young people.
Yes, absolutely not. Absolutely
By the way, when I look at
Sid.
Rosetta, I think young people. So when she says young people, anyway. I'm right behind Prince Philip on the way to the whatever it is. In any event,
You better
no, I'm not.
No, it's not allowed right now.
In any event, all kinds of people are interested in protecting the world around them, and anything that you can contribute towards that will be a positive. Now, there are some people that will look at that with extreme disdain, and you just hope they ignore that part and go on to the other stuff.
Well said. Well
Can
said.
I say something?
Go right ahead.
Can I say something?
Mhm.
I even, as a nonprofit, I get donations from Walmart, Target, and everything. So after the event, I always take the pictures and put them in a collage and put it on a piece of paper, and I write a thank you note on the bottom of it, and I take it back to the store. And I'm noticing each time I request a donation, they're giving me more and more money.
Attitude.
Exactly. I think customer service skills are super duper important as far as sustainability go, because you have to know how to interact with the people in your area, the people you're talking to, whether you're in the corporate boardroom or whether you're standing outside selling a product or a vendor or something. If you don't have those good customer service skills in order to interact with the people that you're dealing with, then it's not, your business is not going to be sustainable because you don't know how to interact with these people. You just know how to, hey, buy my product. It's like, no, build rapport, build that, like the thank you notes or whatever. This just stuff
What
I
have
learned
you
from
done for me
working
lately?
in customer service. I'm sorry.
what have you done for me lately mentality.
Basically, because you got to throw that. Got to throw that in. I've been doing customer service for like 20 plus years, so it's very important. That's my thing, or whatever. As far as dealing with the people that we deal with and servicing them, it's like, how do I interact them to make it memorable, and also to interact with you on your level, so you don't feel like I'm going above your head or over your head, and that helps sustain the business, and it brings more people back. It's like, oh yeah, they cool. They understand this. A lot of people lacking in that customer service skill. That's why I'm getting ready to teach a class on that. I'm pulling it together, but that's another thing, another portion of sustainability I feel like needs to go in there. And a lot of people forget about that because they think customer service is sitting at a desk working in the call center. No, customer service is you talking to your doctor. Customer service is you talking to your mama. Customer service is you talking to that cashier at Walmart. How you interact with people everywhere is considered customer service. And I think that's a huge portion of sustaining your business.
Yes. Thank
I
you.
have a question for Rose in terms of like for daughters, we apply, we're still in the process for the 501. Are we able to like ask Walmart or anybody for anything right now?
Yes, you are. Always ask.
It never hurts to ask.
Yeah.
Never stop
Just
at.
say yes. What I always do is I write a letter and tell them exactly what I'm doing, the date, and where it's going to happen. And I present it to them, and they're going to either give it to you or not. I usually present it to them a month prior. That's what they want you to do, present it to them a month prior to the event. But one store I got, if I ask them for something today, they give me the money right on the spot.
That's
They're
nice.
you know.
In the case of Walmart,
They
they have some kind of a grant program, and it's on their corporate website. But the bottom line is each store manager has a certain amount of money or products that they can give away.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And when you submit an application to this, the Walmart Foundation for this particular program, you have to designate what areas or area that you're working in, and you have to identify the Walmart store or stores that are in that area. They then go to the stores to determine whether anyone wants to participate in your particular project.
Thank you, Rose.
I'm telling y'all, these classes is really, really informative. We need more people. We need to figure out how to get more people in this room.
And anytime that you get my invite, just send it to everybody.
Sent it to 9 people.
That's all right. That's all right.
I done checked there's not one of them is on here. I already checked participants.
Well,
I know what you
send something
mean.
to them today and tell them what they missed. Tell them what they missed.
Exactly.
Let me give you on that. Rose has been in, I would say 90% of all of our workshops, and she does. She comes to other meetings that we have. So she is.
So Rose is cheating then. Rose, you got a head start.
She is investing in her sustainability. You know, because she's right
I've
here.
learned so much. I've learned a lot.
But let me put that in context. Rose came to Legal Aid looking to get some support, and we assisted her. And then Legal Aid, our grant was ending, so we were gonna be off the map because the money for our program CRP was gonna be done. So Rose comes into my office and says, "I want to help you raise money," and I'm like, "You just got your
Because we need them. We need them.
Wait.
Right.
And so it was just such an inspiring thing because she's over here trying, to keep us busy. We're a law firm. So to keep us all going, it's going to be a lot. But that made, for me, it meant so much. She's been our #1 volunteer. I ask her questions. What does the community want to hear? Do you think this is going to be good? Just like I'm doing with you, with everybody, basically. I've been asking everybody the same questions. And so the important thing about sustainability in whatever your business is, you need to be aware of your surroundings, be aware of how you are coming across, figure out what the need is, and a way to go fill it.
Yes.
And then look to learn something. Like for me, there's nothing more amazing than to share a Saturday morning about these topics, and you guys have questions or comments, and we have a great time doing it. So I just want to thank you for your time. Your time is very valuable. We do hope that you talk about this with other people. Just let them know you XYZ, and the next time, I would say if one of you shows, for me, is time well spent. I've never been a person of, we need 350 people, which, I've actually done teaching to 350 people. So numbers are just, it's just one consciousness. If everybody's with you, then we're able to have this and have communication that inspires and that puts another idea next to something you have that will make it better. Anyway, I didn't speak today a lot, so I'm entitled. I did want to ask
some kind of way, right?
Sorry?
Thank
You had to
all.
get it in. You had to get it in some kind of way.
I do have one
Some kind of
person.
way.
There's one person that's on the phone. It starts with 214-854-7784. So you can give us your name and anything about you so that we can keep track of everybody that attended. There's a telephone caller, number 214-854-7784. Can you give me your name?
Oh, this is Diane from the bottom area,
I'm sorry, Diane's from the what area?
the bottom neighborhood. I'm just listening in.
Diane, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. So we're all done. I'm going to be a good host and say, does anybody else have anything else to say? Nancy?
Yes, I wanted to say before we all leave, especially entrepreneurs who came here to get something today, make sure you pick up and download what Sam Prince said. The most important thing about sustainability, the first thing he said was people need to know you exist. So I know COVID has came and we all have these grand ideas and you want to sustain stuff and you want to be profitable to the community and you want to make sure you're doing it the right way and stuff. You can't do any of that if no one knows you exist. So
Good deal.
get your word out
That's
there.
good ending.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Anybody else?
Thank you all. I've learned from each and every one of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose.
Yeah.
Thank you. Eliezer, I'll call you and tell you about some things the daughters is doing. You'll be amazed.
I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Diane.
All right.
See you soon. All right. I know
Thank you all. Have a blessed day.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you for inviting me.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for being
guys.
here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.